how is it going? And welcome back to another video. So begins the classic Algarve segments of videos. We have come to the south coast of the Algarve, which is if you type into Google, the Algarve, the vast majority of images that you see will be along this south coast here, and rightly so, because it is absolutely beautiful. The aim of the game today is just to take a nice sunset. So all this lovely B-roll that you would have seen before my crazy head. We are at a place that I don't remember the name of and that I'll probably forget to put on the screen too. But it gives us some wonderful, wonderful opportunities to take advantage of the setting sun as the light, we hope, will continue to be caught on the side of these sea stacks. And as you can see here, probably behind me as well, we have some fantastic opportunities to take advantage of the lovely 100 to 400, maybe zoom in and try and capture some of those lone sea stacks that are out there as well. But for now, we are going to continue to wander around because it is absolutely wonderful, and particularly at this time of year, it's very, very quiet as well. So we kind of have the whole place to ourselves. So we are going to take full advantage of that and enjoy the wonderful, wonderful sunset and take some photographs as well. Okay. Really actually quite happy with this first composition that we have found here. We are standing up very high, as you can probably tell, and we are looking down over these wonderful sea stacks, and I have eliminated, there's no clouds in the sky, which is, going to be no clouds in the sky all evening. So I have basically just taken that out of the equation entirely, which is a wonderful thing you can do when being elevated above and looking down on a scene like we are right now. And I have essentially just framed up these 4 sea stacks and some of the lovely rocks in the foreground, and I've got my shutter down to about half of a second, and it's really adding some lovely, lovely motion in between all of these sea stacks. So super duper duper happy with this first composition, and I will let my ASMR photography lab come to life and walk you through the image now.
Welcome friends to the ASMR photography studio, and welcome to these lovely sea stacks. This is the only picture I captured with all of them in the one frame. As you will see throughout the video, my focus became ever so slightly more honed in to one of them in particular. But before we get there, can you guess which one it was? I really, really do love the way this image turned out. Golden light ever so slightly kissing across the water's surface, and of course illuminating these beautiful sea stacks. And by slowing down the shutter speed, as I mentioned, I was able to introduce a bit of motion in the water. So where you can see the wave breaking in between the back 2 little rocks, or the back 2 little sea stacks, I was unable to actually get any separation between those because of the space constraints that I found myself standing on top of Crom's rock. The breaking wave actually acted as a nice kind of mask for that lack of separation, which I think really helps the image come together. I really did try and wander around a bit to find some separation, but there's lots of cliff edges and I didn't want to fall. But I really do like the way this first image turned out.
So as Orla just pointed out, just before she pressed record, she said, "You're going to absolutely love my horizon lines." So my heart is like, I'm looking at this now in the edit room thinking, yes, I really do love those horizon lines. So awesome sauce. So I've actually come down from the throne, Crom's throne up there, and I've now isolated this lone sea stack here. And as the waves are moving towards us, towards the camera, it really adds this wonderful, wonderful sense of motion and really brings us into the frame. Super duper happy with that. So gonna maybe wander down this little trail here, because one of the things we need to be very conscious about, it's now 20 past 5, and we've only really got maybe about 20 minutes before the sun goes behind the mountain, or the cliffs essentially, and we lose all of this lovely directional light. So we're gonna have to be super duper fast, and I'm gonna head down and see if we can take advantage of the last of this light. Now, there's a really wonderful smell of toast down here, so I don't know what's going on. Somebody maybe is having some toast, and it really makes me want to have some toast. Now, as you've probably seen from that footage, I was as graceful as a gazelle and as sure-footed as a mountain goat coming down here. But it is really, really wonderful, and I am going to set up the tripod and see if we can continue taking photographs of this wonderful sea stack.
As the evening wore on, I became obsessed with this one particular sea stack. For me, the shape and the potential of leading lines caught my eye consistently throughout the evening. And as I wandered round and got closer, I was able to frame it in a few different ways, and ultimately using the water to help accentuate the leading line. And in this particular frame, the golden light catching so beautifully on the rock face really helps to bring the whole frame together. And for me, there's just enough motion in the water to add that real ethereal kind of dynamism to the frame. Really happy with how this one turned out.
Folks, we've actually come down quite close to the water's edge just to try and capture the very last of the light on this wonderful sea stack here. I originally came here to photograph all three of them, like the one that you've seen in the first image, but this one has just caught the last of the light in the evening. It's just been proven to be the most beautiful out of the bunch. And what I've done now is essentially just put this sea stack slap in the middle of the frame, and I'm then just waiting for the right kind of motion in the water, and I'm just firing off pictures until I ultimately get that. But the light is really fading very quickly, so but super duper happy, really delighted. I came down and rushed down, as dangerous as it may have been, but it was really wonderful. I might skirt over here a little bit if I can, just to see if I can get a different perspective. So I'm going to take one or two more of this, and then maybe move down to the edge super duper close.
So this is just another aspect of this particular sea stack, albeit just a bit more closer to the water's edge. Again, slowing down the shutter speed, as always in these videos, really helps to add that extra nice sense of motion and etherealism to the frames. I really love the breaking wave over the rock in the foreground, as for me it really anchors the entire frame and ultimately then brings us back through the image into the sea stack. And of course, that beautiful light catching on the face of the sea stack really helps to tie it all in together so beautifully. And just like last week's video, because there was no clouds in the sky, I actually did in post-production just ever so slightly overexpose that sky, just to help detract, because the blue that was in the sky was obviously beautiful when you were standing there looking at it, but just in terms of the photograph and the overall aesthetic of the frame, for me it just took away somewhat from the scene, and that's why I decided to make that change.
So folks, wow, that was absolutely wonderful. Just got a huge amount of water coming up. Thankfully I'm shielded by this mighty rock, and I'm just catching the last of the light on this sea stack, and it's absolutely wonderful. Filling the frame full of all this beautiful motion in the water, and then ultimately the sea stack in the middle of the image. It's super duper nice. Really happy I came down to the water's edge, and also that I didn't get soaking wet in the process. And but even looking back this way now, I might just turn the camera around real quick because it is absolutely wonderful. This is really absolutely beautiful.
This last image for me is my favorite from the whole evening. As usual, it's always the last one you get that's the best one. Well, at least sometimes in my case it is anyway. But I really love the way this whole image tied together, from the motion in the water and then just that right nice shutter speed to help create that ethereal motion and sense in the frame, and of course just that very last bit of light catching in the sea stack itself really helps to tie it all together so beautifully. And again, just like the previous image and last week's video, I did tweak that sky just a little bit just to bring that exposure up to help balance the frame. And for me, I really do feel like it's tied it all together quite nicely. I am really happy with how this image turned out, and like I said, it's my favorite from the whole evening. So I would be absolutely curious to know which of the images are your favorite, so do please let me know in the comments below.
So folks, what an absolutely amazing adventure we just had today. Felt really short because of the rushing around. But as you can see, the last of the light is just going on that lovely sea stack that we photographed today. And yeah, I'm so happy. I can't wait to get home and look at all of this on the computer. It's going to be great. And particularly Orla's wonderful horizon lines. I'm sure they're going to be absolutely magnificent. So let's all wait with bated breath for those. But for now, I think we're going to sign off, and me and Orla are just going to enjoy the wonderful last bit of light that we have here. So as usual, if you like the video, then absolutely do give the video a like. And if you do fancy following along for more adventures, then by all means do feel free to hit that subscribe button as we explore more of this wonderful southern coast of the Algarve. But for now, I will see you later, and yeah, take it easy everybody. Cheers.